Hello, greetings everyone, it's me, Strawhead Ninja 89, and welcome to my little comparison video of the one that I pretty much promised in the comment section below. Oh, and, before I compare, the original arcade version to the other games, I do apologize for the lack of knowledge that, yes, there is a Mega Drive version. I pretty much wasn't aware of it at the time until I actually discovered it just recently, and I actually downloaded it. As you can see here, this is the original arcade port, which is completely different from the NES version, because as you can tell, the sprites and everything else are completely different. I mean, yeah, some of the enemies look the same, and once again, the music is the same copy rip-off of Somewhere Over the Rainbow from Wizard of Oz. And yes, Japan exclusively did use this, including, not Europe, I'm sorry. I know the Japanese version and American arcade ports also use the same thing, so it's kind of weird. Oh yeah, the next version you're looking at is the DX Spectrum version, and I gotta say, yeah, it's pretty damn bad. I mean, yeah, it's the same game, but the graphics are just incredibly horrible. I mean, technically it's the same premise as, all the ports in general, but still, just look at the graphics. It's just, ugh, yeah. It's, the less to say about this port, the better. I mean, yeah, it's the game and all, but the graphics just totally kill it. And the fact that there's no music, it's just annoying clicking crap, is very annoying. And like I said, I'm not really a big fan of the X Spectrum that much, so yeah, it just barely doesn't really look any as good as your. And look at that. Shouldn't rainbows be all the colors, like all the colors of the rainbow? That's what makes it a rainbow, right? Apparently, that's not the case. It's just all yellow, and the diamond at the bottom is supposed to be red, not green. And why the hell are there dead fish floating up on the bridge? It's very weird. Now, this version is the Amstrad PC version. Now, the problem with this one, the main gripe I have with this version, is that there's so many glitches and slowdowns. The hit detection, the choppiness is absolutely unbearable in this piece of shit port. Obviously, it looks like the screen is basically scrunched even more. And what the hell is that? Is that Stars or freaking Captain Crunch cereal? I don't even know what the crap that is, but don't even ask. So, in this port, it's pretty much the same thing. You go up with the rainbows, you kill the enemies, you collect the diamonds to get the true ending or the bad ending, as I explained in my Rainbow Island review. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead. I know my ending was a little rushed if you've seen it, but oh, and also for some reason there's a weird time limit, and it says hurry on this version. And then it says goal in instead of just goal. I'm like, okay, what's the point of that? That's like very retarded. I had played the whole thing of it, and pretty much it's not a pretty sight. Okay, this is the Game Boy Color version, and right off the bat you can tell the graphics are even more downgradable than usual. And you're gonna notice the music is not the music we know from Rainbow Island. It's the fucking Bobble Bobble theme from the first game. It's like, okay, if you're gonna make a port with the original everything, the original sprites, gameplay, whatsoever, for love of God, at least have the original damn music. And the Calipers, when they die, it looks really, ugh, look at that. It looks really nasty, like, ugh, it's like all blue and crusted and desyndicated, ugh. It's a horrible mess. Again, it's another really bad port that I obviously do not recommend. And second of all, there's tons of times where you obviously can't go up for some reason, and they swap the buttons. Yes, they actually swap the fucking buttons in this port. B is to jump and A is to attack. Are you shitting me? This is like AVGN here. The AVGN said the exact same thing. He can't stand when they swap the buttons when it comes to simple platformers like Mario. I really agree with that. So no, ugh. Alright, I take it back. What I say about the Game Boy Color version looking bad, this is a billion times worse. This is the Commodore 64 version, and this one, with me when I downloaded it, had a lot of problems, and again, a lot of slowdowns, and the music is the same, but I can't stand it most of the time. It's just, I guess I forgive it, because Commodore 64 music actually had this sort of problem, but it came to a lot of games. If you don't believe me, look at the Superman game, the Angry Video Game Nerd did, or the Batman game. Yeah, this is... It's ridiculous. I mean, they really took a really great point. And of course, this game doesn't really need no introduction. This is the Nintendo Entertainment System's version of Rainbow Island, as you already know if you already seen my review. If you haven't, go watch it. As you can tell, it's the version, again, what makes it different from the NES version. I mean, from all the other versions, is that the music. The music is completely different. And instead of using Somewhere Over the Rainbow, well, I guess this is the American version, quote-unquote. And with that, using a copyrighted song like Somewhere Over the Rainbow is a big no-no. So I guess they really restricted copyright laws back in the day, so they couldn't really use it and just came up with their own beat, which I will admit is original. Now, as I explained in this version, just like all the others, you do the exact same thing. And there are, you know, about, I say, 7 worlds in total? Yes, I'm sorry. There's 7 worlds in total of the game, and again, you get the good ending or the bad ending. However, the bosses, designs, and everything... Now, this is the Sega Master version. And pretty much, again, what makes it, you know, original like the NES version, it uses the same music. The same tone that they use in the NES version is back in this version, so, you know, no complaints there. But also, you'll notice that, you know, the clouds are a little darker, and the blocks over here on the corners where you jump is more, darker this time around. For some reason, it's not a bad, poor version of the NES game, but for some reason, they made it a little bit too dark. I can imagine what the other levels will be like, and yes, if you want to do imagine, the levels do get a little more darker, which is not a bad port, I say. However, as you can see here, there are little bits of slowdowns here and there, crazy glitches like that calipator floating up and down, turning into a french fry in a weird way. Here's what I was talking about, the Sega Genesis Mega Drive. Now in this one, it's completely different. But as you can see here, they actually stuck to the original arcade's design. As you saw in the very first thing that I showed you was the original arcade version of the game. They actually mimicked the original arcade version. I have to say they did a really good job, but as you can see, the enemies are completely different from your average ones. And here's a reason. In the Genesis version, there's a thing called Extra Mode. In Extra Mode, what it is just basically an extra trial of variations of levels combined together. Kind of like what they do, I guess, with Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. I'm talking about the original Super Mario 2 for the NES on the Famicom. They pretty much did the same thing, and I don't know why I keep saying hurry. There's a weird time limit on that one. Now, this is the Atari ST, or whatever the hell the system was called. I just found out what this Atari system was recently, and I just, like, got it. For some reason, it wouldn't cooperate with me, but for some reason, it's actually working. Sort of. Okay. So what you're seeing here is pretty much, again, a representation of the original arcade port. Now, they do have 7 worlds, just to keep in mind you, and there's different color sprites changes here and there and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, like, if you haven't played the original arcade version, maybe I will review it one day, but like I said, I'm pretty much more used to the original NES version more, but, you know, maybe I'll give it a shot one of these days. I'm just doing a little comparison video to show you all the different versions to a wonderful classic game like this. So, anyways, yeah. I hate the time limit thing on this. Like, the arcade version is really annoying. Is the whole time limit thing. In the NES version, you could just take your sweet-ass time, and you don't even have to worry about it. Okay, now this is the TurboGrafx 16 version. And, well, it's pretty much in, well, as you can tell, 16-bit. Except it's a little bit faster. Like, the theme is a little bit faster here and there. And, of course, it's using the same copyrighted music as I mentioned before. But whatever, again, there's really nothing else to really say about it. And it's pretty much a pretty good version of the port. I have played the full version, and I totally recommend getting this one also. It's pretty good. And for shits and giggles, I'll show you round 2. Round 2 is pretty much just a little bit different from round 1. But anyways, this is a console called the Imaga. I don't know. The Imaga, I believe it's called. I don't know. It's some Japanese system, I believe. I never owned it, but when I found out there was a port, I was like, you know what, why not? I'll explain it. I have played this one. It's okay, but the music gets a little bit off here and there when it gets to the later levels, especially when it comes to the boss battles. It sounds like if the Genesis, like, and the Super Nintendo had, like, some weird mixing problems with the audio. It's just, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best version ever, and every time we die, you get, like, a sound. Well, in all the other ports, that's never happened, but for some reason, in this version, it happens. And it makes, like, sounds like, ugh, or or something like that. I don't know. It's like very weird. It's like what they try to do with the Super Mario Advanced games, where they actually try to add newer sound effects from like the 2000 decades into old games. It doesn't make any sense. This is version 1 of the Sega Saturn version of the game. Yeah, I know it flickers on me for some reason. I don't know why. In this one, as you can tell, for some odd reason, there's a lot of blinking going on with our main character here. For some reason, when I tried on this version and the other one, for some reason I keep doing that. I don't know why. Sometimes they'll randomly flash, like sometimes even the enemies flash. It's really weird. But again, another recommendable port if you have the Sega Saturn. Pretty good, not too bad. There's only been some slowdowns. It runs pretty smoothly and well. And yeah, I totally recommend this port as well. So, moving on to the next one. So here's the second version of the Sega Saturn version of Rainbow Island. And as you can tell, they pretty much amped up the graphics a whole lot here. It seems like Rainbow Island has went to the next level of, you know, pretty much 2D gaming. I gotta say, they did a really good job. And you can actually tell that there's actual facial emotion in this. Look at it. They actually put emotional faces in the clouds. So okay, they're trying little bits of different things here and there. And it's true, they actually do. Some of the enemies and some of the bosses do look a little bit different. It seems like they really amped it up and make it into a beautiful, and I mean, this is the most beautiful looking Rainbow Island port I have ever played. And actually one of the best ones. There's actually no blinking or no flickering. Okay, well maybe except there. But other than that, it doesn't happen really too often like the first version does. And I say I totally recommend it. It's actually not too bad, to be honest. Okay, so there you go. That's pretty much all the Rainbow Island games that I can barely get my hands on of all the versions. In short, my most favorite version would have to be the NES version, which of course is the most original one and the very first one I played, Sega Saturn version 2, the Commodore 64 version is not too bad either, the Sega Mega Drive is pretty good, Sega Master is okay, but the problem is they made everything a little bit way too dark, which is okay, but it kind of makes me feel like I'm a little bit blind, like when I'm playing it. And sometimes it gets a little bit also too bright, like way too bright. Like they could have toned down either the darkness or the brightness in that port. It's weird. But whatever. So those are pretty much the ports I recommend. NES, of course. The original arcade version, Sega Saturn version 2, and TurboGrafx 16. So yep, that's pretty much my little comparison video to all the Rainbow Island games, all the ports I can get my hands on. Thank you for joining me, Straw Hat Ninja 89. Over now, see you on the bounce. Peace out, guys. And as you excuse me, I would enjoy getting more endings for this game because I barely can't get enough of this classic. It's awesome. So yeah, later, guys. Peace out. Love that sound. Anyways, later guys. Stay tuned for my more game reviews coming soon. Next game review will probably be Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS. We'll see. Later.